Well, it's great to be here in San Francisco, and it's particularly wonderful to be here at this memorial. It's my first trip. I'm Bob McDonald. I'm the Secretary of Veterans Affairs. It's my first trip to see this memorial, and on behalf of all veterans, I would like to thank the people of San Francisco and Mayor Lee for this beautiful memorial to the veterans of our country. We had a meeting this morning. We had Mayor Lee, of course, our great host from the great city of San Francisco. We had Mayor Libby Schaaf from Oakland, who's unfortunately couldn't join us for this conference. And Mayor Sam Liccardo is here from San Jose, and Dave Cortese, the president of Santa Clara Board of Supervisors, who is with us as well. We all met and we discussed what we can do to eliminate veterans' homelessness. There's tremendous work being done in the Bay Area for veterans. I visited our medical centers in San Francisco and Palo Alto already. They were two of the ones that I visited when I became secretary. And later today, I'm going to have the opportunity to visit our regional benefits office in Oakland. And obviously, there's a correlation of goodwill here in San Francisco, represented by the work that's being done in the Bay Area, as well as this memorial. Now, this is the first time that we've brought together mayors and county leaders in a single geographic area. And I can tell you, based on today's conversation, we're going to continue to do this all across the country as we work to eliminate veterans' homelessness. We had a really productive discussion. We talked a lot about what the best practices were, what we needed to do to improve in the future, and to share what's working. Ultimately, we talked about what's best for our veterans, and we all agree that there is a moral obligation to end veterans' homelessness. As you know, President Obama has made a bold but attainable goal to end veterans' homelessness by the end of this year. He believes, as I do, that no one has fought for this country should have to fight to have a roof over their head. Since 2010, we've reduced veterans' homelessness by 33% and a 43% decrease in veterans living on the street. We're pushing hard to eradicate veterans' homelessness by the end of this calendar year. Ending veterans' homelessness doesn't mean we can prevent every veteran from facing a housing crisis in the future, but it does mean that when and if a housing crisis does occur, we can have systems in place to identify and quickly house all of our veterans. Right now, VA is undergoing the largest reorganization in our history. We're reorienting ourselves around veterans' outcomes and looking at everything we do through the lens of the veteran. One of the strategies we're using is increasing our use of strategic partnerships. Nowhere have we found partnerships to be more important than in our work in ending veterans' homelessness. We have vital partnerships at the federal, state, and local level that have allowed us to make substantial progress to date and will ensure our future success. At the federal level, the Department of Housing and Urban Development and also the Department of Labor are great partners with us in terms of providing vouchers and other important resources. Mayors from across the country have signed the First Lady's Mayor's Challenge to end veterans' homelessness. As part of that challenge, 570 mayors, governors, and other local officials have committed to ending veterans' homelessness in their communities. Mayor Lee has already made that commitment a long time ago, and today the new mayor of Oakland, Mayor Schaaf, and also Mayor Liccardo have agreed to join that challenge, and we're pleased to add them to our group. And local nonprofit organizations like Swords to Plowshares here in San Francisco and others across the country have been the boots on the ground that we need in order to get the job done. It'll take all of us working together, all of us committed to that same goal. With that, let me turn things over to each one of our local leaders. I'm proud of the work they're doing outstanding work, and I'm proud to be their partner in ending veterans' homelessness. So let me first call on Mayor Ed Lee. Mayor Lee?
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Well, thank you for that introduction, Secretary McDonald, and thank you for your leadership for our entire country. Hello, everybody. Happy Earth Day. You know, I spent most of the morning talking about taking care of Earth and climate change. And I am so happy that we're also simultaneously taking care of the very people that we value on this earth. And I want to just also welcome to the podium here Supervisor Julie Christensen, who's been a great partner in this effort, as well as our entire Board of Supervisors. I want to thank my Bay Area leaders here today, like Mayor Shaft, but also Sam Liccardo, and also the President of Santa Clara County Board of Supervisors, David Cortese, and representatives of the incredible and invaluable Leader Pelosi's office that's been such a strong partner. I also want to welcome our Veterans Administration here, Veterans Affairs, and we are, of course, sited right now in the memorial, and it's such a beautiful setting. The sun came out right when we're ready, Secretary, to announce this. So I know there's a blessing more, and when we get this Veterans Memorial building done, it'll be even more blessings, Beth. So thank you very much for doing us all a great favor in finishing the seismic good project. San Francisco is a place that honors and cares for the brave men and women that serve and have served our United States Armed Services. In fact, we stand here today as a physical embodiment of our city's gratitude. It is also a symbol that our city honors veterans not just with words, but with our own actions. And I may have made that commitment when it was a challenge to me as a mayor, Secretary, but when I came back, I asked for a lot of help. I asked for the teamwork that has been representative of our sports teams, as we talked earlier about. It's always this teamwork that puts the solutions together. We started programs like Veterans Connect, the Veterans Portal, so our veterans can easily be accessed and linked to housing, to education, jobs, and other social services. And when our veterans return from service, our city provides them with the necessary training and education and get those jobs in the 21st century. And that's why we made a strong commitment to make sure our city college is always accredited and there, because that's where a lot of veterans come and cluster as their first welcoming back when they come back from service. Late last year, we housed 130 formerly homeless veterans in a safe neighborhood at 250 Kearny Street. And last year, I committed to President Obama and First Lady Obama the mayor's challenge to end veterans homelessness by the end of this year. Well, we are delivering action again for our veterans. We're housing our veterans on our streets with mental illness and mental health challenges, substance abuse issues, or HIV and AIDS, and who have been homeless for over a year or 4 times in the past 3 years. We have done this by forging great partnerships with our Veterans Affairs, Department of Housing and Urban Development, our HUD, our Veterans Medical Centers, our Housing Authority, our numerous nonprofits, and then specifically our Swords to Plowshares and our private sector partners, and more our partnerships with our real estate and our property owners in the city. Thanks to all of our great partners. Today, I am proud to announce that San Francisco has met this challenge by committing the resources necessary to house all of our city's chronically homeless veterans by the end of this year. And we have made housing veterans a priority by providing more local resources needed to succeed. I have allocated additional funding from my fiscal year 15-16 and also 2016 and 2017 budget to acquire new supportive housing units needed so we can house all of our city's chronic homeless veterans by the end of this year. We'll continue to build on this success. We've received over 200 new project-based vouchers for the coming year through HUD-VASH program, which combines rental assistance from HUD with case management and clinical services provided by the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs. This will be able to house even more of our veterans, and by working together will accomplish even more. We've got to continue thinking innovatively about this challenge. It's never been about one city or one county. It's been about mayors and counties working together with our private sector, working together with our housing providers, with our public housing to accomplish all of this. Here in San Francisco, we've been proud to open the city's first navigation center, which identifies our homeless and gets them into rapid rehousing. We're working together with all of our partners, and today is yet another demonstration that we can't do it alone. We can't work in silos. In fact, the bulk of our meeting today with all the other mayors and county representatives was how to get out of our silos and into the collaboration that we so necessarily need to help our veterans do more than just survive. They've got to be successful at the same time. Our work is not done, and as we know every day, more veterans tragically fall into homelessness. We understand the incredible challenge we have in the Bay Area of how expensive it is to do the work that's necessary here, but we're not going to let that be our barrier. San Francisco can and will do more for our homeless veterans, and I look forward to working in partnership with Oakland, with San Jose, with Santa Clara County to house our entire Bay Area's region's most in need veterans. With that, I'd like to introduce, or I'll give it back to our secretary to introduce the rest of our speakers. Thank you.
Thank you, Mary Lee. Thank you, Mary Lee, for your inspirational words and your commitment and also your action. I'd now like to introduce Mayor Sam Liccardo of San Jose. Sam.
Thank you, Secretary. I want to thank Secretary McDonald for convening us. It's meaningful when our leaders in Washington convene local leaders to tackle challenges that we all share. And I also want to thank Mayor Lee for hosting us and for his leadership here in San Francisco in really meeting this admirable goal of ensuring that chronically homeless vets are housed in the city of San Francisco. I just came into office 15 weeks ago, and I'm taking on the same challenge. And we know we've got a lot shorter runway to be able to meet that challenge, but it's important for us to focus our energies and efforts because after all, our veterans risked everything for us, and we can do better. We have over 700 homeless vets based on our last census in Santa Clara County. That was in 2013. I'm guessing our most recent census of only a couple months ago, as we're gathering that data, is going to reveal that we have even more homeless vets. We know the cost of living is getting even more challenging, particularly for the poor and the working poor, and we've got to do more. And that's why I'm looking forward to a renewed collaboration with the VA to see how we can better break down the silos, share information to ensure that services are properly matched with the neediest veterans for mental health, for alcohol and substance abuse, all the many needs as we try to get more of our vets off the streets and out of the creeks and under a roof. And for us in San Jose, we recognize the critical need of innovation. As the largest city in the region and in Silicon Valley, we're working with innovative nonprofits like Downtown Streets Team, who are employing a work-first approach to engaging homeless individuals in cleaning the streets and creeks they once lived in exchange for affordable housing and vouchers and job training. And we're able to house over 840 chronically homeless individuals through a partnership with Destination Home, a collaborative we have with the city, the county of Santa Clara, and many of our nonprofit agencies. We've got a lot more work to do, though. And I look forward to working with the VA and all of our partners, the County of Santa Clara. I know Dave Cortese is about to speak in just a moment, to meet this very important goal. We've got to do better by our vets. They deserve it. Thank you.
Thank you, Sam. It indeed is very inspiring after only 15 months to take on the challenge with such a short runway ahead. But I commit to you and the people of San Jose that we will be there every step of the way with you and do everything we can to help you meet that commitment. I'd now like to introduce Dave Cortese, the president of Santa Clara Board of Supervisors. Dave?
Thank you, Mr. Secretary. It's an honor to be here. And of course, unlike San Francisco, in the South Bay area, the county government, the city government are separate entities, but we have entered into formal partnerships with the city of San Jose as a county. And Mayor Liccardo and I have talked many times in a variety of forums about how veterans homelessness is a huge priority for us. As part of that commitment on the county's side of things, I announced the formation of a 10-month task force in Santa Clara County on homelessness that will specifically target veterans homelessness and children's homelessness in our county, including in the city of San Jose. We think it's unthinkable that anybody who stood for their country in the armed forces would sleep tonight under an overpass or in a creek bed without the services that they are entitled to. And make no mistake, in almost every case, they are entitled to a full gamut, a full spectrum, a full continuum of services. In that vein, we have asked Oakland VA to expedite enrollment of veterans' claims in as quick a time as 24 hours. That pilot program is up and running. We shared conversation about that today with the Secretary and asked that those kind of programs be expanded. We would like to have greater information sharing between all of our government entities, including the Veterans Administration, so that we can do the counts that we're doing that Mayor Liccardo just talked about and move people immediately into the medical and housing care that they need. Those are our commitments. Again, it'll be the further commitment of our Santa Clara County Task Force by December of this year to make sure that we live up to this commitment of getting veterans in Santa Clara County off the street and into care. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dave. Wonderful work going on in Santa Clara County. I'd like to introduce one final speaker, and that is Michael Blecker, the Director of Swords and Plowshares, one of our partners that we work with to get the job done here. Michael?
Thank you. I think I really appreciate that Swords is part of this press conference, and we're included in this because we are, as one of the many community-based organizations in San Francisco and the Bay Area, it's really blessed with these organizations who tackle really the hard work, whether we're talking about mental health, their jobs, housing, what have you. They're mission-driven, they're in the community, and Swords is one of them. We've been around since 1974. And out there trying to help vets. And so you don't just get to this point where you're bringing all these resources together and you're sort of walking point on the matter. We've always sort of quote walk point, which in Vietnam meant you were the first one in a mission. When a platoon or a company walked out, there are folks who are walking point into enemy territory. And so that's what this was. Enemy territory is homelessness, is being on the street and making sure the veterans are taken care of. So we have been walking point these years, but we couldn't have done it without the tremendous support of the VA and the Housing Authority and the City and County of San Francisco and the state of Sacramento and you name it. So there are some key moments in this time, and I won't kind of bore you all this, but I do recall that after the 10th anniversary of the end of the war, there were suddenly people discovered Vietnam veterans had a problem. And so all of a sudden, we tried to address those problems. And early on, Mayor Feinstein, I was on Mayor Feinstein's homeless task force in '86, and they were dealing with the homeless problem with hotline hotels. And so we knew that wasn't the answer. So over the years, we've developed more of a continuum of care and an approach. And recently, there was some, quote, key game changers. And among the key game changers was when HUD really stepped up and said, we're going to make housing subsidies available for vets, a vet set aside. And it was called the VASH program. And then that was followed up by the Support Service for Vets and Families by the VA. So the VA stepped up and provided the social services. HUD stepped up and provided the rental subsidies. And then the city and county stepped up to work with the private landlords and worked in a collaborative fashion to align everything, because that's really key. You have a lot of resources to align, whether you're developing a new project or whether you're developing an old project. And so all that together, a group that really understood the community and vets, helping vets, is what Swords and Plowshares represents. So in the last 2.5 years, a lot has occurred. We were able to sort of, as we did, we have housing at the Presidio. It's called the Academy, Vets Academy. Housing on Treasure Island, and again, this was made available by the city's determination that we shouldn't put all the veterans in one area of the city, but the whole entire city should take responsibility and step up. And I think that's what we're seeing today. So I think at 250 Kearney, it's an exciting program, but the issue is not just putting veterans in housing, but keeping them in housing and making sure while they are there to connect them up. They're not isolated. You got to break through the isolation. You got to make sure that they're taking care of each other and make sure that the community, the larger community, sees their responsibility. So it's really, we're going to really continue to need everyone's help. And again, not just government, but public services, the people in County of San Francisco, those who serve our country, those who care about those who serve their country. So we got to be in it together. And I'll just leave with one thought. I remember in 1985, we had this benefit at Golden Gate Park. And at the benefit, there's Bill Graham, you know, these lions of San Francisco heritage, and Robin Williams and Bill Graham. Anyway, they made these buttons, and the button said, the true cost of war was on the top. And on the bottom said, 1/3 of San Francisco's veterans are homeless. And today, we don't have 1/3 of the San Francisco homeless vets. And what we have to do is make sure this future generation of post 9/11 vets do not become 1/3 of the homeless. Thank you.
Really well said, Mike. We'd be happy to take a few questions if we have any questions or comments from anyone. Okay, well, thank you very much. Thanks for coming this morning. Thank you very much for being here. Have a good day.